Come on.
I'll call the meeting to order. Thank you for coming. We will start with the prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and then roll call. Dear wise and loving Father, thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of serving the community. I pray you give us wisdom to govern, a sense of the true needs of our residents, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony. I pray for the agenda set before us tonight. Please give an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live in, work in, and around the village of Hicksville. It is in your most blessed name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, thank you for coming tonight. I would like to start out our meeting tonight by recognizing Officer Steve Talbot on his retirement from the Hicksville Police Department. And we had an open house for him on Friday, May 5th, but we wanted him to come before council so that we could present him with a special plaque and thank him again. Thanks for coming, Steve.
Hey, thanks.
I'm going to tell you that this says Officer Steve Talbot for your brave, selfless, and dedicated service to the village of Hicksville. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
May we have roll call, please?
Baker.
Here.
Barth.
Here.
Bassett.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly.
Gathering.
Headley.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Thank you. Keep me in line. Now we will call to order the joint meeting with the Hicksville Township trustees, which is required each May. Cheryl, you have done roll call with the village council. Would you please do roll call for the trustees, please?
Collins.
Yes.
Green.
Yep.
Zedek.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you guys brought any business with you tonight that you necessarily wanted to discuss, but we need to, give me that paper. We need to vote on a member of the cemetery board on whose term will expire at the end of the year. And currently, the members are Zane, Sheila Baker, and Don Brown. Zane is on till 12/31/2019, and Sheila is on till 12/31/2018. And Don Brown's term will expire 12/31/2017. And since we will not be meeting, anymore between now and next May, I guess I would like to know who you have to put in that position, or if you're going to renew Don's position.
Don agreed to renew,
Okay.
if it's okay, we'll keep him another year.
Okay. Would someone make that motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Jones.
Yes.
Headley.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Baker.
Yep.
Green. Zedek.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Okay. Do you guys have anything that you would like to talk to council about, or does council have anything they'd like to talk to the cemetery board or to trustees about? Okay, I guess we could.
I got one thing.
Okay.
Today I put out 25 flags. A year ago I seen it in Auburn, and people would sponsor those flags for $25. And they had 127 last year for their first year, and they turned people away. So if you wanted to sponsor a flag for $25, the money will go back to the Forest Home Cemetery. The money will. if you want to sponsor, we'll put your, in honor or memory of whatever councilman you want, or you prefer, or mayor, or anybody. You know, like the one in Auburn, one of them was a school teacher in honor of. I thought that was pretty cool.
That is really nice. Would you like to repeat that into the microphone, like up there, or I could do it, but I think you could do it better.
I put out 25 flags today, and in Auburn a year ago, they did 127 their first year. They're anticipating 300 this year and that. But they charge $25 sponsorship, and then they give you a little card you fill out, they laminate it, and then they zip tie it to the flag. And they leave them in, they said before the 4th of July they pull them. Okay, I'm not pulling them before the 4th of July. We'll pull them after the 4th sometime, weather permitting. But if you're interested in sponsoring one for $25, the money, you will get the flag if you want it afterwards. You don't get the pole, but the flag, we will give that to you. And that.
Who do they call?
Pardon?
Who do they call, or how do
They
they?
can call me or Cheryl Miller, and we'll make sure I'll take money first.
Okay, or they can call us here and we'll
Or
help.
Sheila, yep.
Okay,
So,
I'll take one. Anything else? And then I would entertain a motion to adjourn the joint meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baker?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Zedek?
yes.
Green?
Yep.
Thank you very much. You're welcome to stay, or you're welcome to leave.
I've never seen you move so
He's
fast.
driving a bus earlier.
Okay. We'll move on here, and we have, I'm sorry, Rick, I hadn't even read your last name yet to know how to pronounce it correctly.
It's actually spelled wrong on there. It's Rostorfer.
Oh, okay.
It's actually pronounced Rostopher.
Rostifer.
The pronunciation is correct on the paper.
Okay.
Spelling.
All right, welcome. Would you please go to the podium and,
My name's Rick Rostorfer. I'm General Manager of Sherwood Mutual Telephone. And I wanted to make it formal that our intentions are overbuilding Frontier with fiber optic cable in Hicksville. We're establishing an office in Hicksville, and we'll be offering triple play services to everyone inside the city limits. So, and everyone will get a letter formally in the next few weeks, maybe a month. We're still having some legal things we have to work out to get everything established for the new business that we're forming, but it will be coming. We've already, I know it's kind of a sore point, but Jerry Klein offered us the building when he told us 3 months ago that he was retiring, and it was his way of, trying to find a way to cover someone buying the business. So we bought the building. It's a done deal, and we will establish an office there. So we will have a local presence. And if you have anything that you need me for, Larry's got some business cards to pass out. So I'd love to stay, but I have an hour and a half drive home. So I actually live in Wapakoneta, and I drive up here every day.
I guess the only thing, and I talked to Bill, as far as if you'd explain to council your 2 phases of boring, just so
Okay.
council's aware of where you're doing.
In town, we'll be doing all underground work. We'll keep it as clean as possible. There'll be repair work. Wherever we, mess up the ground, it will be totally repaired back to new. We will be putting handholds, not pedestals, in town. Outside of town, it'll be all pedestals where they stand up above the ground. But everything in town, to make it as clean as possible, will be the ones that look like they're on top of the surface. You can't even tell unless you walk up on them. We'll make it as clean as possible for the residents and the businesses. They won't have to do a thing. We'll be boring 95% of the project, so there'll be crews out here with drills. They'll be drilling from handhole to handhole. And then we come back and we put the fiber in. Outside of town, we'll be trenching that in because it's easier and cheaper for us to trench it in. But in town, we have to bore it just to make it clean. So this is a rather large project for us. It's not my first project. I've done this for 26 years. So, but this is first time SMTA is going outside of their area. So this is just a stepping stone for SMTA to expand. So we are going to be going around. You'll be seeing me walk the streets. You'll see our engineers walk the streets. We'll be answering questions. We'll be handing out flyers. We'll be doing whatever we can to communicate with the residents and the businesses. So, did that answer?
Well, I guess want them to be aware of, you're basically doing every street in town eventually.
Yep.
So if they had any questions, now would be the time to ask them.
It depends where the easement is. There's some questions that we're working through now as far as easements, and I have the engineering team working on it. I'm trying to let them do their job and trying to stay out of that part of it, because when I jump into things, they don't like it too much. They kind of shoo me off.
Yeah, what was your
Timeline.
done date?
The timeline for the build, the actual project is a 3-year project. We don't expect it to be that long. We expect to have our cables in the ground in 2 years max. And we'll be hooking customers up from day one. Our office won't be done till November, so we won't have the local presence, but we can actually serve some of the customers from our Sherwood office. So we have a 12-mile limit, and we're just on that 12-mile limit when you hit the city limits. But we have Mark Center we're going to build, and down 18 and down Fountain Street, we'll be able to serve all those customers, and we'll push it to the limit if we have to serve customers. Yes, sir.
Will we retain our 542, or will that be changed?
Actually, you can port your number to us, and it will stay the same.
Okay.
We will be offering phone services to businesses. We can offer hosted PBX services too. We can offer transport. If you need to get from your business to Florida, we can offer that. So we have a large portfolio.
You mentioned Frontier. Did I hear that when you first?
Yeah, we're overbuilding Frontier. So we had looked at possibly purchasing the exchange from Frontier, but the cost of fixing what they have let go was far more than us just coming in and doing business over the top of them.
And
So-
how deep are you going with your bores?
36 inches to 10 feet.
Wow.
I've been down as low as 30 feet on some of these when you have to go into railroads and things like that.
There's
But
a lot of stuff in the ground out there,
yeah,
so.
yep. And our engineering team's the best. I've worked with them for a long time, so they
So
are
you'll
the
be a
best.
member of OOPS, like when.
Yep, we are.
Go in, everything will get located.
Yes, sir.
Private residents who want to subscribe to your services and everything,
Yep.
how do you run the laterals into their household?
We actually have a machine that Mr. Ridgway is going to be running for us that will bury the cable right to the house. It'll be 12 inches deep, and then we run the machine back over, and it folds it right back over the top of it. So the grass will brown a little bit where it did, but it'll perk back up next season.
Any idea what the cost will be?
That's the million-dollar question at this time. It's very competitive. Haven't got the solid figures on everything yet, but it's going to be very competitive to what Frontier and Mediacom has to offer. The biggest thing that SMTA has to offer is our service is fiber optic. It's not going to be down very often. If it does, it's a big outage. I could count on one finger how many times in the last 6 months we've gone down, and that was because of an outage in Lima, Ohio that caused everything up here as far as phone service, and you guys probably experienced it too. We don't go down very often. We'll have a redundant path built into the Klein Super Value building that will protect our services. This is what we do. we're not going to neglect our products. So you people are our customers. We're going to listen to you. If you have problems, we're going to fix them. We're not going to wait. So I'm not trying to sell you. That's just the way we are. And if you like, you can ask Larry when I'm gone, because he does it.
Somebody local, and I like that.
And I'm trying to find technicians local that I could hire that know the area a little bit better, but it is very, very hard market to find technicians. So, and be competitive. We're hiring 5 people for this location. So there will be jobs available. I've already hired 2 people. They start next week. I'm getting ready. Even though we're not here, I'm already on the road because I got to get them trained. So, any other questions?
Is Dave gonna join you?
Welcome.
Do we have TV service?
Yes, and I will be able to put this on our TV service.
Great.
I will be able to put your local channel on our TV service. It'll cost a little bit of money to get it started, and I'm willing to pay that to put it out there for you guys. It's something that we do for other communities. We're going to do it for here. So,
Thank you. We're happy you're
Appreciate it.
coming to
Very good.
Hicksville.
Great.
Good luck.
any other questions? You guys are letting me off easy. I thought I was going to get just ramrodded with questions here.
We'll hit Larry.
Right behind you out the door.
Gotta leave your cards up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's more.
May I have one? I'm sure you'll probably want to come by and look at our equipment so we can figure out the best way to get it hooked up.
I'm sure you're going to work closely with Ken and,
Yeah.
water and sewer administrators out there when you're running your cables.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to let the engineering staff do that because if I get involved, I get my hand slapped. So, because I'm saying, come on guys, let's move. But I let them work at their own pace. After 20 years of dealing with the same engineering company, I let them do their thing. It's best that way.
This might be a dumb question, but through Mediacom, we get a franchise fee? Is that?
I have to contact the Ohio Commerce to find out how that works. You get a franchise tax. Being as this is a broadband service, I have to work that one out. It's possible that I can charge a franchise tax and then bring it back to you guys. I do it in Sherwood today, but that's because we have our own cable company there. I'll have to find out if I can do it in Hicksville. I'm not sure about that one.
I mean, the customer has to pay it, but I'm just curious.
The cost,
That's a service that doesn't quit every other week.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me.
yeah,
I'm just curious.
What we've
Yeah.
been looking for, like I said, we've talked for years, not saying Mediacom's bad or anything, but, the competitiveness with Mediacom and having that current rights for this area, with cable provider and everything, and television and phone and different
and
things.
that might be the issue that I have to overcome because they already have the franchise here.
Right.
As a broadband service provider, I don't have to have a franchise license to participate in an area. But it's one of those fine lines that, doing what you do, you need to make sure everything's right. So I have a direct connect right into the Ohio Commerce, so I can do whatever I need to get it done. As far as the franchise tax per customer, it is very low in the big scheme of things of what it does to the community, helps the community out.
So our Troy will look at it with your lawyers, make sure.
Yeah, when we get to that.
It's a little ways away.
There's a lot of stuff out there underground. It's gonna be tough.
That's why we have the best engineering crew. So they've been in business for over 50 years. They've been doing it for a long time. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass these out so everyone knows what I am.
Thanks, sir.
Want another one?
Well, one ought to be fine, thank you.
Thank you.
I might run out, Larry. I might need some more. Nope, I got enough. Thanks. Thank you all.
Yep, take care. Jared.
Got one.
Jared.
Okay. Next on the agenda is this public meeting concerning zoning change at 727 Ogun Street from M1 Light Industrial to R4 Industrial. And
No. Don't need nice.
or R4 Residential. Pardon me? Oh, that's another.
Notice of the public.
Oh.
So is there anyone here tonight for the public meeting? Mr. Help, I see. Is anybody else? All right. So I believe the minutes from that meeting were in the last packet, weren't they?
Correct.
So then, Troy, will you bring some legislation for that, please?
Yep.
Okay,
Vote on that.
At the next meeting.
yeah.
Chris, do you have anything to say about, Chris has?
Okay. So this is a little out of order in my mind, but you also received a notice that there's a public hearing for a lot split on Thursday, June 1st, 2017, started at 5 PM in the Office of the Zoning Inspector located at 108 North Main Street. The application submitted by Jared and Amanda Radford is a request to split lot 103, the rear lot of Bundles Reserve with a physical address of 615 East High Street. The request is to split 0.451 acres, more or less. So if anybody has an interest in that,
Does anybody know why they're, what they're planning to do?
No, he's been talking to Mike, and Mike's gone this week, so. So no, I really can't tell you.
I don't either. So anybody in the neighborhood, I don't know, might be interested. It's again Thursday, June 1st at 5 o'clock. Okay, now we're going to jump back up to approval of May 1st regular council minutes.
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baker,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Headley,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
You should have had a chance to look over the bills list by now. Does anybody have any questions about any of the,
I have one question there.
okay,
I have one question also.
Program our design group on the Main Street water line, see, we paid them 4,000 and something last time, and we're paying them another 2,000. Is this thing ready for bid?
Getting very close. We're not gonna be able to, they'll have the design done. We're not gonna be able to go to bid though till closer to July 1st, once we get the contract from the state for the funding. But, yeah, design work's getting very close.
What's the cable TV contract labor for Skylar Mullihan? Is that a normal?
I have no idea what.
We
Well-
had a huge backlog of the old programs that had been done for HIX-TV were on video cassettes, VHS tapes. And when we moved out of the old building and transferred everything over to the school, we wanted to save time. So we contracted with her to convert those old VHS tapes into DVDs.
So that's
we can pick up-
what's here on your agenda? Okay, okay.
Yep.
It takes up a fraction of the space, and they last 100 times longer, so that was the last, that batch. She has one final batch that she's working on, and we should be completely done with that project by the end of the summer, I hope.
Okay.
And my question was the fence repair. Where was that at?
Right outside that window.
Yeah, call it the back, how would you explain it?
Behind the Uber.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that was out here.
fence that stretches along the back side of East Smith.
Did somebody drive through it, or
Left parts of the
Nobody knew?
vehicle.
nobody knows? Somebody-
Truck hit it this winter, not one of ours. I guess needed some general fixing up then anyway, but that's
An old fence?
the main reason. Somebody clipped it.
I move to approve the bills, Mayor.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Jones?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Barth?
Same.
Baker?
Yes.
Thank you. We are at boards and commissions, and Cheryl mentioned that. I might just remind you that, like, Cheryl puts the council packets together on Thursday. So if your committees meet, it'd be nice if you could have your minutes and stuff to her by then. HIX-TV, you got yours in really quick. Your meeting was just Saturday morning, so yours are on the table tonight. Did anybody get a chance to read the HIX-TV minutes and have any questions? All righty.
Make a comment on water sewer minutes.
Sure.
We had a meeting here back on the 9th. Full committee was there, Kent, Jeff, Jesse, Troy. Or not Jesse, but Troy was there. Met with Justin and Tony about their subdivision out there on the golf course. They've been wanting to have a sewer tie-in or sanitary tie-in to the village. We've talked about it, and we got the Pogemeyer had done an investigation there with the lift station and Haver. By numbers, I mean, it looked like it was feasible to tie into our existing 8-inch line out Haver Drive. But we weren't really in favor of that with the amount of work we've been doing out there. So our discussion kind of more ran on towards them running sanitary line up 18, up past the lift station, and then tie it into a gravity feed past the cemetery. It was a very good conversation. It wouldn't run into anybody's property except private property, and kind of no tie-ins with anything that we have currently existing except once they get past the cemetery. Justin and Tony were okay with that idea. Committee was okay because they were requesting some type of tie-in to the city system. Along with that, because it's not an annexed property yet, or if, we've discussed that about down the road, and that's further discussion, of course, but to give them the idea for their design of infrastructure and everything, where their engineers and architects could run that line. Committee recommended that we're okay with it, they're okay with it. Want to make sure council would be okay with it. Did I explain that right? Does that make sense? But because they're not annexed, if they do have a house out there, they would be charged double the rates for the sanitary above and beyond what they'd recommend, like a $50 base fee. They would be double that due to the fact that they weren't in the city limits at that point in time. But their architects and, of course, engineers want to know how they can run that sanitary line, where it needs to be ran, and we think that's the best fit for their subdivision up through that point along 18. So I don't know if anybody had any questions. Justin came tonight, if anybody had any questions for him. Like I said, with the time with Pogemeyer, Kent and Jeff and Troy and Jesse, had a lot of discussion and talk about it in committee. They kind of want to know if we're okay with this idea and proposal. That way they can get it designed that way.
You're certainly not gonna hand us all this information and expect us to vote tonight, are you?
No, we don't have to.
Good deal.
But like I said, committee was all in favor.
Houston side of the road.
Correct, Houston would be the.
Well, that's kind of up to them, but.
Yeah.
I vote to vote tonight.
Yeah.
We gave
No
you
need to be
okay
in
as
a
a
hurry.
committee to dump into, to treat it as a committee.
Right.
That's all we agreed.
Yeah, I mean, the meeting went really well. I think everyone that was there, Jeff and the committee, were satisfied with the sewer line going, like Mike said, up to the cemetery to the gravity feed, not hooked into Haver Drive at all. So,
I mean, I think they would like to have us make a motion that we're okay with him to tie in, but not on the Haver side of things, the Haver line, but tie into the city in one way, shape, or form, so they can get their engineers and architects to design their plan.
Is that all you need, Justin, for now?
Yeah, I guess we just need to know plan. We're waiting to tell our engineers what the next step is. You know, if they don't go tonight, it's another 2 weeks, or another 2 weeks. And I know for a fact right now, we have about 4 people that want to buy lots, and it's all pending if this is gonna happen. I just got a call, actually today, from another guy that sold a house here in Hicksville, $395,000.
Why would this hold you up? You had on Facebook that if we don't want to do it, you have another alternative.
Ron, I'm not here to argue with you.
I just asked a question.
We can put it in and put it in 2 well and septic, we can put it in the package plan.
Okay, so then there's really no big rush.
Well, I've been in favor of this from the beginning. My biggest concern was always the cost of what the sewage rate was gonna be, because I didn't think it'd be fair for them to have cheaper sewer rates than what my rate is in town.
Right.
When it's my wife and I live there, and our sewage is $56 a month for 2 of us. And initial proposal was for those to be $30 to $50, and I didn't,
That
I
was
know,
just-
and that was my biggest concern, was the rate that was gonna be established, but I see down here towards the end, you know, when it was gonna be twice the multiplied by a factor of 2, which
Right.
I'm happy with that. And
The other thing you gotta consider about that is, I think Ken will know this better than I do, the current rates have a flat fee rate for people that don't have water access, which is, maybe needs to be adjusted.
Oh, yeah, it'll have to be.
It'll have to be adjusted, but when they don't have, it's hard to say that it's quote double whatever the rate is when the people in town are paying based upon their water usage.
Right.
So, I mean, it's gonna have to be a flat fee figure, something more than what's in there currently.
Well, the average for every residential
Yeah.
house in the village of Hicksville, the average sewage part of the bill is $52.90.
Right, yeah, right.
And,
That'd be a fair way to do it.
Mine last month was 76.
I thought in
well, the
this
average
year-
for every house.
Is $100 enough to cover what we need to do?
I thought Don brought some stuff showing to be like 102.
Yeah, it's like 102. And we had discussed if we ever have an increase within the city, that they would definitely have an impact, it would be increased also.
Well, let me ask this, I'm gonna call for an executive session at the end of the meeting. Don't you think council should talk about this as a whole?
We can't openly right now,
I mean, there's
thought we are.
nothing, I mean, I don't think there's any reason for executive session.
I'm talking about, I'm calling for one on something else.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But
We couldn't discuss this in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You couldn't
This could be
discuss this in
I mean,
executive
If
session.
you want to discuss it as a whole now, discuss it in an open meeting, and whatever
So-
you have for the executive session, we can
We can discuss this later, but I'll make a motion that we accept.
I'll second that.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Baker,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes?
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
No, based on the fact this is the first time I've seen this, and I'm not gonna vote on something I haven't read and understand.
Headley,
yes, I've read it, I'll vote yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Okay. Any other things, Mike, on your report?
Let me see here. I don't believe so unless anyone else has any questions in regards to it.
Any questions, Justin? Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Any other committee reports? I see we have minutes here from the Streetlight and Property Committee. Anybody want to comment on any of that stuff?
That's what the executive session's gonna be.
Is it?
And also,
On what ground?
what do you mean grounds?
You gotta have grounds for executive session, like litigation, personnel,
Purchase a lien.
purchase of real estate.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, all right.
For this?
All righty. Any other committee reports from anybody?
What do you wanna put that under?
I don't know, but I think we have to talk about it.
You wanna put it up there now?
Yeah. You're the chair.
Well, I'm on sidewalk committee, and we didn't have a meeting or anything, but I just want to thank everybody for what they're doing out there. Everybody's really cleaning them up, fixing them, and I appreciate it. Looks good.
It
Keep up.
does.
It
Yeah,
does.
they
They're
are.
doing a lot of edging and a lot of replacement, and looks good. That's on the sidewalk. And then we had street light and property meeting. And we talked about the window signs in Mr. Haber's building uptown. I went up and checked today. It looks like he needs to remove a few more. And I've been noticing a lot of garage sale signs that are still up, and I'm sure there's an ordinance on that, isn't there?
They are supposed to remove their signs after they have their garage sale, so.
And I see there's might be the same garage sale, but there's still quite a few of them up that we can't get that now at the beginning of the season because they'll just keep piling up. And we talked a lot about the village properties, what we can do, the rentals, everybody, not just rentals, to clean them up, make an ordinance or something to get them cleaned up and keep it that way and stay on it. We really didn't make a decision, but
Well, the only thing you're gonna have to keep in mind on that, you got the nuisance board for the stuff that fits nuisance board. I think we've had this discussion before, you can't go after somebody if they set a couch on their front porch to sit on, or they paint their house bright pink and you don't like it. You're gonna have to be careful what you can force people to clean up. Trash is one thing.
we're not forcing, we're asking.
Well, an ordinance is meant to ask. Ordinances don't cover common sense. I'm not against cleaning some stuff up,
Yeah,
but you gotta
we
really,
need to get hold of this stuff.
there is a right to be a hillbilly in this country, within reason. I mean, sorry, there is.
There was one property that we discussed in that meeting. I spoke with Mike last week and asked him if he thought we should have a meeting and talk about that property, and he said it's kind of an ongoing thing. So I'll just send him a letter and won't have to have a meeting, so.
Nothing will happen with that letter.
Well,
That's been off and on for the past 17 years too.
then we'll do something different.
I mean, I know
We'll
what
have to. We
building you're
have to.
talking about, but the owner's not gonna respond.
Well, there's got to be something that can be done. That's unsafe.
Well, that's what we have a nuisance board for. And I said, I've been around 17 years. It's never been dealt with yet.
Who's on the
So,
nuisance board?
The mayor, Ron's the council rep, Scott, and Mike Beal.
Well,
Ron, whoop.
it has been suggested that the nuisance board get together and address some stuff, and I don't have any problem with that. Since I've been mayor, we haven't really addressed anything, so,
Possibly at the end of this meeting, we could set up a date and time. When will Mike be back?
Should be back next Monday, if I understood you.
Maybe sometime next week, we could do something there.
Okay.
I think you have to invite the property owner and stuff like that too, so.
That'd be a good idea.
Well, I think you have to.
Well, is it to address this one single property, or we just want to get together and talk about something in general?
well, I imagine there's some, typically, the way the nuisance board worked in the past is they came to the board with some addresses and some infractions already listed by code violations, so that we knew what the nuisance board was considering exactly. So I guess we need to know what code violations that we are going to consider for whatever property or properties you're talking about.
Okay. If you read through the nuisance board, it's health and safety and structural issues, where you gotta have certain percent of this is bad, that's bad.
We've got all three covered.
Well, you gotta.
I don't know about
put
the
in writing,
percentages
too,
or
so,
anything, but
Right.
I mean,
Let me ask this question, do we just send letters, do we go see the gentleman or the lady or the family in
I think
person?
Diana's talked to him.
Okay. I think the best way is to go
Several
talk
times.
to him, and have all that.
well, I've talked to the person in general about, trying to
Good.
get it cleaned
That's
up,
a good first step.
but I guess I'd like to forewarn him if we're gonna go out. I mean, I definitely wanna talk to him if we're going after him. I mean, I didn't take that approach with him, I was just asking if he'd clean it, if there's anything even we could help, to do to clean it up, or find some people to help him clean it up, because,
And the other thing was about putting up a sign for a deaf child on Bryan Street. The committee decided to vote no on that. I know it sounds rude, but I think Troy can cover the situation.
When the issue first came up and it was proposed, I did a little bit of research and I sent an email to the committee, and I think the summarizing email was, ODOT has a manual for traffic signs and traffic laws that they maintain, and part of that is, that's where it sets out like the size that certain signs have to be and where they have to be located, and they're very technical. But in there, they have provisions that talk about warning signs or whatever, ones that aren't required by Ohio law, not stop signs and speed limit signs and things, but ones that are discretionary. And their general rule in there, and they cite a couple of studies, but one in particular, I think is from Iowa, Missouri, where they disfavor warning signs, like you sometimes will see like children at play or things like that, and this kind of falls into that category. And they generally disfavor them for a couple of reasons. One, they're distracting to the drivers and they think that they actually cause more harm than they potentially prevent. The other thing is they're kind of they provide a sense of where the people that live in the area maybe can relax, or if they're, if you're in the deaf child scenario, the parents can relax and think that it's,
Use
okay.
the sign.
Yeah, the sign's out there, so everything's going to be fine. It actually causes the potential for more injury than not having the sign, and so that's why it's up to, in a municipality like this, it's clearly discretionary, and it's up to the village on signs like that. If it was out in the county on a township road, it would be up to the trustees, and if it was on a state highway, it's up to ODOT. And they kind of give us guidance on all of that, and they generally disfavor those warning signs. And then if you just do like a Google search of it, you'll find the issues come up all over the country. And I didn't do any scientific polling or anything like that, but the ones I read, 90% of them were, when these issues came up, they were voting in many different states, voting against providing signs like that for the reasons cited in the scientific studies and whatnot. So that's from it's purely discretionary with the village, and that's what the committee's for and what the committee decided.
Thanks, Troy.
Well, normally, something from committee comes back and then full council votes on it. So I don't know if you want to do that with this or not.
I raised the question, Sheila. I mean, I'm not thinking about the parents, I'm thinking about the little person that's deaf. Okay. That's just, I think we have to humbly look at that on an individual basis. What you say holds merit. I don't know, if I had a child that was deaf, or I had a child that was handicapped, if there's some way you can prevent an accident, but I can see what you're saying, it discourages. It's a reverse scenario. You get distracted, it's like driving over in Grayville and you see slow down for children.
You start looking.
If they're out playing.
Yeah.
But.
There was a sign down there years ago for, I think, what's his name, Tommy?
Tommy.
Yeah,
But the committee has.
And he still lives there, and he's still deaf.
But the parent had indicated to Kent and Mike that people are running the stop sign there, and his kids like to play in the street. And police chief, there you are, he sat down there several different occasions.
Oh, no, yeah,
and
number of times.
There's no problems down there.
Mm-hmm.
I
just raised that, the committee has recommended, I'm not saying I'm against it, I just want to air the situation a little bit.
I think I did send you a message that I got a telephone call from another resident that lives down on that corner, and she was not calling on behalf of the neighbors or anybody else. She was calling totally on her own, she said, and she said there are people blowing that stop sign.
Well, she was comfortable enough to stand in the middle of the intersection for about 15 to 20 minutes talking with some other residents, so if she's really concerned about people running that stop sign, maybe they shouldn't have had their meeting there.
Okay. Well, I guess if there's no further discussion about that, do you have anything else for your committee, Sheila?
That goes into executive session. Purchasing.
Purchasing property, okay. All right. Are there any other council committee reports? Thank you. Kent?
I didn't bring my army helmet or flak jacket, but I'm gonna bring it up.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, I get it. This goes back to streetlight property. Before I go up and pound spikes in a lot of good-looking cement in front of Subway and Bob's Auto, I'm 200% sure those are staying there. Because I don't want to pound spikes and then find out a month later, we don't want them.
I thought you wasn't planning on spiking them.
They're gonna have to, I mean, they're whopper jawed now.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel like destroying some real good cement in some spots if it's not gonna be permanent.
In my speaking with Heath, he's fine with it. And in talking with a young lady, she wasn't a wheel or anything, just one of the girls that works at Subway, she said she thinks it's helped because people favor their expensive parking lot now more than they favor out front. So I think it's working.
Well, I tried to pull my truck in there after I got the email from Kent, and coming from, I guess, heading east, there's no way I can pull my vehicle in any of those spots and actually be in a parking line or anything like that.
There are no lines.
I know, but I mean, you're in there
The line of
really,
the block.
yeah, you're really, I guess, at an angle when you go in there. The parking, those parking posts or what stops need to be, would almost have to be at an angle to be able to pull my vehicle in there. I don't know, to me, I thought it was a great idea, but I think you're gonna have a possibility of, like Ken said, more vehicular accidents, people trying to get in there and then trying to back out, and when you're facing straight forward, it's hard to get your vehicles to turn back around with those two lanes of traffic there. I mean, if you have a small car or something,
Yeah,
you
even
can probably get in there.
before, that was a problem.
Yeah.
Even before them were put in, that's a huge problem.
We put a parking spot there and everyone thinks they can park there. You get someone that's in a full-size crew cab truck with a long bed or, somebody like that, and they pull up there and their rear end of their vehicle's hanging out in the turn lane or, the straight lane, I guess.
So you use the parking lot.
Ideally.
It's kind of like that uptown when they park uptown.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
I parked the
bad.
wheel up over the concrete.
That or they park out in the street.
I definitely think they should be pinned, my opinion.
I have not tried to park in it myself.
I have, but I don't have a big truck.
Did the
I was fine. I went in
businesses
from both
ask for
angles.
those, Or you just, how'd that ever come about?
A couple different people, one of the owners, I was sitting there one day and he wheeled in, we were sitting in the front office and he let out a few expletives. God, I thought he was coming through the glass. And he said, we ought to have something out here, we ought to put something out here. And then
When
the more
I came
thought
up,
about
I came by, just look at it, and one of them's already turned.
Well, yeah.
And then the one toward out of town was across the sidewalk, half against
They
this
pushed it up.
cement, and then blocking half the sidewalk, so.
I didn't
They
know it
were
was
straight
pushed
when I
so
came.
easy.
That's why he was
Subway.
that's why he wanted to get them pinned.
Yeah.
But here's another thing that you need to look at.
Yes.
We have run rampant on people. Fix your sidewalk, do this to your sidewalk. Have a sidewalk, put in a sidewalk. And that location there, we force people to walk out around those long trucks until they get over to Grace Church because everybody pulls tight up against the buildings.
I had walkers complain about
Now
not being able to walk past
We
the
have
vehicles.
designated a 4 foot, or is it 5 foot, 4
They're
foot?
6 foot out. They're 6 foot from the building.
So we're 4 foot. We've dedicated a 4 foot sidewalk, and if we can't dedicate a 4 foot sidewalk there to get past those two businesses, I don't really think we should ever tell another homeowner he needs to fix anything.
Well, I guess the next thing is this gonna expand elsewhere? And should it be the property owner's responsibility to put parking blocks up? I don't wanna become the parking block police, so to speak.
What?
Because we are putting them on private property. That's not a public parking lot, as far as we own it, whatever. But still, I don't wanna go up and pin them, ruin some good concrete, and then 2 meetings from now, oh yeah, this is a bad idea, let's take them out. Because
Okay.
I'm not gonna explain that to the property owner.
Take a quick straw vote.
What's the span between Subway building and Post building? 40 foot?
In between the
Yeah.
air lot,
So you gotta leave that open. We've got two.
That's all open.
We got two
yeah,
parking
right.
blocks in front of each, two in front of Subway.
I'm just curious, where's the other places you're talking about? You'd have to add more of them.
There could be along North Main, along our stretch.
Right.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know what anybody's thinking on
And
this.
that's not a bad idea
Right,
for your
I
office.
agree with that.
That's not a bad idea.
Can you guys, I'm just talking here now, can you guys put, like in the city, you see where there's a sign that says compact car parking only? So somebody like Eric who's got a longer truck that pulls in doesn't realize their truck's hanging out in the middle of the turn lane. I mean, they're, at least put a sign there that acknowledges it.
Well, but
I mean,
then-
if I knew my truck was hanging out in the road, I would be a little hesitant.
But Justin, you've got one of the big long trucks,
I know.
and you know where to park. If anybody that
Right,
owns
it's
one of those knows
common
where to park
sense.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I'm-
Put those signs, maybe compact car parking.
Well, there again, I guess we're back, is that our,
We got rid of.
to deal with
minute
private
signs.
property.
Right.
We don't need any more.
It's in the right of way, yes, but we don't own that right of way.
Right.
That's
I-
private property.
I personally don't think it is. If they want parking ties up there to help protect their businesses a little bit, I mean, there's been other buildings in town that have been ran into without, absolutely, no
Yeah.
parking ties,
I don't know if a Bob would help that.
kind of thing.
So I'm a little confused then, like, are you talking about along Bruce Guilford Real Estate?
Yeah, that'd be a spot where
Okay,
you can
so
pull
then
over a
he
sidewalk.
could, so if it's private, you're saying that's Bruce's private property? Because I always
No,
thought.
that would be public. property.
Okay, all right. That's what I was trying to
When you read
figure out what you were saying.
They went right
What?
down. You just spent
Question, if
$700
you're-
fixing that fence, 'cause
If you're gonna make
it had to happen.
in Subway and Bob's Auto to do
Saturday,
it,
they were okay.
isn't it required, should the Slattery have to do the same thing? How can you pick and choose which businesses?
He asked him, he asked him if it would be okay.
Stacked it.
We didn't pick and choose, we
Well,
asked him.
Okay, but
Marathon just said no.
Slatteries don't have them.
They said no.
Slattery, what we want, the end result of Kent, is we want yellow lines or white painted on the concrete, and so that the walk areas coming from the old building and loan and coming from across from the palace have those designated. I've been watching Mitch. Mitch used to pull in, set sideways. Now Mitch parks right even with the Subway building. You also have to remember when they tore out all the concrete up there, their representative from Slattery Oil was here and said, whose is this? If it's the village's, you replace it. If it's ours, we'll replace it. And everybody went, go ahead and replace it, you can have it. So they
Well, I guess replaced that's my everything. question is, I mean, because that would be Subway to replace. Because I talked to Al, he doesn't like them. And Al's the owner of Subway. He does not like the blocks. But, that's why I'm questioning, you're gonna have to think about it, if you're gonna force them to do it, how are you gonna not do, if it's private property? That's all, I just got a question,
Well, all my life, you could, because it used to be a gas station, you could pull in from either direction at Slattery's.
Right.
So I would think that they kind of grandfathered through on that one, especially since they paid for the concrete that we're running on. And,
Well, Bruce paid for all that concrete out in front of Subway.
So your question is, you're saying that Subway, the owner of Subway does not want the block, so he should not be forced to have them.
but the property owner at Subway likes
Park
it.
on Bryan Street, but we're hanging on to the sidewalk, don't they?
So, I know that's the stipulation here, but I'm just,
There's never been.
question is, if you're gonna force them to
The end of the
have it.
sidewalk and the grass.
The man that leases that to Subway
But the
likes the
sidewalk
curves.
itself, no, you could pull up over it.
I don't know.
Well, anyway.
Okay.
But could you mark it, just like we do uptown, stripes, we talked about that, where they park? Would that help?
I think
Well,
it
there
would.
again,
But I think they're really adjusting.
I guess I'm back to why are we striping private property?
Okay, I'll just.
Make a better community.
Isn't there a right of way so many feet from the street?
But that's not ownership.
You have the right to place, we have the right to place road signs and various things for traffic control in that area though, don't we?
I don't know if parking, I'm not so sure. Regulatory signs is one thing.
Pin 'em.
I just bought a bunch of them.
I mean, I don't care, it's just, I don't wanna hear, because it's happened before with some,
How long they been there now?
a week.
if Heath
How many
wants
complaints
his,
is Mike had? How many complaints of Mike?
Well, the day the guys were putting them out, the guys were hearing plenty. I heard plenty from the.
How many of them came to you and said, hey, we don't like these?
The ones we were there and one
No,
driver.
since they've been there,
Right.
how many complaints have you
I've
got?
not been back, so I don't know.
They'll
nobody's
come
called
to you when they don't like them. They'll come to Mike.
how about,
Me, Ron.
if Heath wants them, I would say
Well, he
it's
did.
safe to screw them down.
Well, no, I'll
He,
pin them.
now, are you saying he didn't?
Well, yeah,
Well, he's saying he does.
the day I was down there.
He
Don't
says he
pin 'em.
doesn't want them.
Don't pin him until we get an answer. I mean, that's the way I feel about it. We're getting conflicting stories here.
Oh, I know. And that's why I don't want to do anything.
I would say
till-
let the administrator go down and talk to them. If
Yep.
they want them pinned, pin. If they don't want them, then pick them up.
Yep.
I agree with
Well,
that.
yeah.
God,
I had
why
gone-
do we waste our time
I
on
had
these
gone
things?
and talked to Poth and asked him that when he saw people parking their cars across the sidewalk like that, particularly over the weekend, to ask him to just back them up so people can continue to walk past them. And I don't know if he did it or not, but, I mean, if people could just be trained not to park across the sidewalk, that would solve a lot, I guess.
So is that actually officially designated as the sidewalk area in front of there? Because if it is, you're not allowed to park on the sidewalks. If you don't
Yeah,
have a
you can
designated
ticket
sidewalk
whether
in
they're
there,
blocked or not.
that's why I'm asking, because somebody's gonna complain about people blocking the sidewalk. Normally we'd say move or you'll be cited. If that's not actually a sidewalk then we can't do anything about it.
It's been a sidewalk since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Pretty much cite somebody that's been able to do that for years on top of years. Unless you post it, no parking.
I think you just need to stripe it all the way from Bob's and Church to the corner, and then on South Main, past Slattery's building, because that's a sidewalk. You just start out with paint if you want.
Paint and tickets.
I would
that's
think
what I
our
was gonna
police
say,
officers
ticket.
have more to do in this community than to stop and tell somebody to back his car up 2 foot. But then that's just me, so. But if we do this, if we say, take the curb bumpers out, we don't need them, everything's great, we should never, ever tell another homeowner what to do with the sidewalk. It's just that simple. We're trying to create a sidewalk for
Right.
safety. The mayor has indicated that she has complaints from people having to walk around them.
Yeah.
And we've offered you an opportunity to fix it, and you don't want to, don't ever bring up a sidewalk again.
Complaining because the car was parked too close up to the building. Is it a couple, and then all of a sudden we become proactive on parking issues? Or a majority of the people don't say anything and they walk around it, they watch for cars or people and doors, and they move forward. We always kind of, to me, become reactive to a certain situation with a couple complaints and want to change everything.
Let's move
rather
on, we've
than
been on this way too long.
Get it.
I really don't.
Yep. Maybe we're overthinking it. I don't know.
What's next?
Yep.
Well,
Can't
sure what I'm
you-
supposed to do. I just don't want you changing your mind and creating more of a headache
Better bring
than
your helmet.
what they're doing. If you want them pinned and painted, I'll
Talk
pin and paint it.
talk to Heath and the property owner, I guess, Bruce.
Well, it's not gonna make sense to do one and not the other.
I agree.
Okay.
Just,
Okay, fine.
I'll wait a couple weeks and bring back and see.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope.
Okay. I guess I'll pin them and paint them. I just don't want to hear, well, we're gonna go up and move.
Okay.
We'll try to get here this week.
I'll second it.
that took longer than Justin's edition.
Do you? Ken, do you have anything else?
No, I don't.
Okay.
My head's spinning.
I don't know, what did we decide?
Move on to other stuff.
Ken's gonna handle it.
You can talk to
Well,
him.
no, we're gonna pin it and paint them.
Thought you were gonna talk to him.
You don't want to pull them.
I'm not, no, it's gotta be both
Do we want to vote?
or none.
That would clear it up. That way you would know what the majority
I
is.
thought we were moving on.
What are you painting, the blocks or the sidewalk?
Maybe we should vote on the
Blocks.
blocks if they get pinned or they
I've heard
get.
complaints.
I make a
people can't see
motion, we
those.
leave the parking blocks where they're at, and we pin them, and forget this thing. Yes, we leave them there, no, they're coming out.
Well, can't you tie that together with a motion just to let him inspect it, since you got conflicting stories of some people
Just
want,
had
some
two
don't?
members of council say that we ought to do the vote here.
I'm saying, can't you include that in your motion to let him check it out and let him make the decision?
Well, no, if one owner wants them and one doesn't.
Well, then you're back to square one.
Well, yeah, so you might as well get his vote on it, be done, and we'll move on here.
Do I hear a second?
I second that.
Roll call, please.
Baker?
To pin them. right?
Yes, you
Two
keep
pennies.
them.
That's the
Yes.
motion.
No, you,
Okay.
no, you take them
Just
out.
so that everybody's clear.
Are you, is
Just
this
to keep
painting
them.
too?
No.
I don't care about the painting, just
Alright.
pen them.
Pins, I'm okay with pins, I guess.
I've had as many complaints about that as I have the others, so people are tripping over them. Hey,
Did
sorry.
you,
I don't
did you
know how we
actually,
do.
did you call?
She hasn't called me.
Hey, call.
Who are you, who'd you call?
I'm trying to do roll call. Barth?
No.
Bassett?
No.
Beverly?
Yes.
Headley?
No.
Jones? No.
Okay, so I'm pulling.
Sounds like it.
Okay.
Jeez.
All right, solicitors report, please.
First thing I have is ordinance 2017-12, third reading by caption only, an ordinance authorizing the village fiscal officer to transfer funds.
Third reading, okay. I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, second, please.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Jones?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
And I have a second reading of resolution 2017-08, a resolution strongly opposing the state of Ohio, which proposes centralized collection of net profit tax returns and other provisions related to the municipal income tax, which will cause a substantial loss of revenue needed to support the health, safety, welfare, and economic development efforts of Ohio municipalities.
Do we need to get that moving?
I don't, is there a time frame on that?
No.
That's me.
Do you have anything else to report to us that we need caught up on?
I do have, I did receive a copy of the contract from Sherwood relative the income tax collection that we talked about. I just got it late last week and started going through it. The clerk there was making sure she had the right one before she forwarded it on. And so hopefully that's something where, now that I've seen the way they're doing it now and what we need to do, maybe I can get something roughed out and at some point can get it to some people to look at, including the people over at Sherwood, so we can start looking at that.
When would we start that? We agreed to it in July?
I don't know when, if they've had, probably would make sense to do it at the beginning of the year, which I guess, but.
So we got some time.
Right. That was never, I guess that was never brought up to me, but it would seem to make sense if you're collecting and starting over at the first of the year would be appropriate.
Of course, I don't know if they read the contract.
I don't know when their when their contract is up with the current agency that's collecting for them.
So Troy, you approved a contract for services with Maumee Valley Planning Organization for the CRA?
Yeah, I mean,
I always have to stop thinking about the acronym.
yeah, the CRA, there's a contract that, I don't know if it was in everybody's packet or certainly.
Did you actually see the scope, did you actually see the CRA agreement, not just the contract?
I saw the only thing that we're approving is the contract for Maumee Valley to do the
Housing survey.
It doesn't have anything else to do with it. We got to get that survey done first.
Okay.
Cheryl forwarded me a bunch of information that quite frankly I already had, not all of it, but a good portion of it, because when we first brought it up, I did the research or whatever, and that contains like the agreements, if we're gonna, what we're gonna submit to the state, depending on the results of the survey and everything.
Okay.
So that's down the road. The first step is to authorize them to do that survey and get the survey done. That's all that contract addresses. And it's like $1,000 for them to do it, so it's under the threshold. It could be signed without, can't sign it without needing a resolution or an ordinance,
Okay, so for $1,000, they'll do the housing survey for us.
which is the first step in trying to get that CRA. set up.
Okay, just wanted to make sure we were covered on that. Okay, anything else we need to know about? All right. I know we've asked your opinion on a few matters lately, like, about things, but. Okay, then we are on to the department heads. May we have the chief of police up here?
We received Mayor, were you going to read that proclamation?
Yeah,
Okay.
would you like to read
Received
it?
If you want me to.
Well, you know what? I will do it.
Okay.
I will do
That's
it.
fine. Do you want to do that? We received this from the Defiance County Commissioners today.
Yes, I will read this right now. As he said, it's from a proclamation from the Defiance County Commissioners. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which it falls as Police Week. And whereas in every American community, law enforcement officers are committed to the preservation of life and property, risking their lives to protect us, providing protection, law and order, and serving the cause of justice. And whereas law enforcement officers accept a profound responsibility and work to uphold our laws, safeguard our rights and freedoms, and serve on the front lines in the fight against crime and terrorism. Whereas it is important for that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of the law enforcement community, and that the law enforcement officers recognize their duty to serve the people. And whereas we honor the heroism of all of our law enforcement officers, especially those who have given their lives so that others might live. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Defiance County Commissioners proclaim National Police Week, May 14th through the 20th, 2017, and further recognize May 15th, 2017 as Peace Officers Memorial Day. We encourage all citizens to honor and recognize the law enforcement officers who have committed themselves to preserving the rights and security of all citizens, especially those who through their courageous deeds have lost their lives and have become disabled in the performance of duty. Therefore, be it further resolved that it is found and determined that all formal actions of this board relating and concerning the adoption of this proclamation were so adopted in an open meeting of this board, and that all deliberations of this board and any of its committees that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. And it's signed by Ryan Mack, Mick Prokrasky, and Gary Plotz. And I would like to also extend the sentiments of the Village Council and myself to our police officers and all those police officers that we're recognizing through this proclamation. So thank you very much for your service.
Thank you for the acknowledgement.
Thanks, Chief.
Appreciate it. Okay. Other than that, I'm supposed to bring up before council, Monica Herman has been here for over a year now and is due to be moved up to the next level of Patrolman 2. So I'd make that recommendation, I guess, to the mayor, and then you'll...
Do you typically do a job evaluation in this process?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Well, I would recommend that we promote Monica Herman to a patrolman.
2, I believe
Two?
it is. Yeah, from 1.
To a
Oh, it's to
1.
1 now, she was to, okay, I mixed up the number.
Okay.
I would go with the mayor's recommendation and make that in form of a motion.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Baker?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yep.
Headley?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Anything else, chief?
Nothing from
I've
me.
got a question. Who's your officers now, the lieutenants? You've had a lot of
We
trouble.
don't have a sergeant or a lieutenant right now.
So is that coming soon?
Yes, very soon.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Fire Chief Kramer.
I don't have anything, however, I would like the police and fire meeting Wednesday afternoon if possible. Afternoon or evening, whatever works.
Beverly, Jones, and Headley.
When would you like it?
Whatever time works for you guys.
Oh, okay, I used to say the day.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay.
We need to discuss the township contract.
If you can hang around shortly after the meeting, maybe we can discuss it and set something up.
Okay. Anything else? Nothing else?
No, nothing else.
Okay, that's all right. Is Lonnie here, EMS chief? Oh, hi there. Didn't see you back there.
The only thing I have to report is I received 2 resignation letters this morning from Jason Zimmerman and Crystal Schmitz. We just brought them back onto the department, but they have purchased a house in Defiance and will be moving out of Hicksville the end of the month.
There are 2 paramedics.
Yes.
Yep.
That takes
Lon-
us down to 10.
10, do you have anybody in training right now, or any prospects, or anything?
No.
Short staff.
We're down to 10
It
members.
changes
then.
quick. It changes real quick.
Yes, it does.
Did you get an opportunity to go to Fort County at all and talk to their students that are going to be graduating this year or anything?
Not to their students, but I did talk to the lady that is in charge of the program. So we're in contact, but I haven't been out there to talk to the students.
Do you happen to know how many seniors they have in that class this year?
Not this year, no. And the program that's going to be starting in the fall, we have 1 Hicksville student that will be taking that program, and it's a 2-year program.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you.
Yep.
We hate to hear that we're losing them. And I have a note that there is no park director here tonight. No park director, I guess. That's the correct term. Does anybody have any questions so far here in the, all right. Fiscal officers report.
You have the cash month-to-date, year-to-date report. Also, the police department, mayor's court, April reports. I have a letter that there's dropping another channel on MediaCom. And the collector that we use is Credit Adjustments, and I got a letter from them also saying that they will no longer put anyone through the credit bureau unless they're already at the legal phase, which is kind of like the reason that we send people there is to get them on the credit bureau. So we have to think about whether we want to switch to somebody else.
That's becoming a pretty common, there's been a bunch of changes in the Federal Credit Reporting Act and the way it's being enforced by the Consumer Protection Bureau, and I think out of an abundance of caution, a lot of debt collection agencies and things are going to that because the risk of lawsuit and liability for misreported things, and the civil penalties that the Consumer Financial Bureau imposes are too steep for them to take the risk. I'm going to see that a lot more, I have a feeling.
Do you have another plan, Cheryl?
No, I just got the letter.
Okay. I guess you can talk to Troy about that. Maybe he can give us some ideas of how to handle some of those.
And I have the latest up-to-date long-term control plan, money in, money out from all of our various loans, grants.
Cheryl, you and I talked about this a little bit, and I was hoping that maybe you could give like some play-by-play details here for everyone. The right side is by project. So you can see who the project, street name there. I'm doing it for you, but go ahead and do it.
That way I know you understand.
Go ahead.
And it has the name of the contractor. The total project under it is any kind of change orders. And out to the side is who's doing the financing. On the left-hand side is a list of our loans and where they stand right now. And at the bottom left-hand is the most important one that I'd like you to keep in mind for the next long time. This is the total of our new annual payments every year. This is going to come out of general fund or wherever this is coming from, out of the village of Hicksville, just in payments alone.
Sewer.
For the next 30 years.
And that's just what we're at today, $470,000 debt retirement every year for the next 30 years.
Yes.
Out of sewer fund.
Nice big chunk.
Speaking of that, I know Kit's been working with Andrew with the EPA. We're trying to have a meeting set up to go and discuss with him some of these projects we have coming to the end of phase 1 and going into phase 2. And metering and everything. So we had brought that up at a couple council meetings prior to, but we are getting closer to having a meeting with the EPA in the near future.
Cheryl, got a question on the current wastewater treatment loan. How many years? You said 30, but I don't think that was 30 years. Is it?
We don't have that many left.
339,000, which is.
It's how much we pay every year.
See, we should be in
Towards
year
it.
10 of that, wasn't it a 20-year loan?
So in 10 years, that 339,000 will drop off.
Yes.
Then it'll look a lot better, but still have the 10 years.
And you're gonna be adding more debt
Yeah.
to those anyway, so.
As we keep doing projects. Does anyone else have any other questions for Cheryl? Or Cheryl, do you have some more stuff you want to add?
Just remember, this is only phase one.
And what is the interest, I should know, for the wastewater for the next 10 years? I was looking.
0.2% at the wastewater treatment plant.
2%, okay.
It's cheap.
Yep.
Oh, there it
Alright.
is, yeah, 0.
Is that on there?
The one loan is 0.2.
It's horrible.
Okay.
Good.
Thanks.
That's all I got.
All
Thanks,
right.
Cheryl.
Thank you. So I've been asked to remind the residents that June 2nd and 3rd is going to be the community-wide garage sales. They can call Mary Wan if they want to participate at 542-7237. And I would like to thank everybody that worked at, Zane, you really worked hard at the plant sale. Everybody that worked at it and came and supported the beautification committee by making purchases there, we thank you very much. The proceeds from that goes for our hanging baskets downtown and the flower beds that you see at the Welcome to Hicksville signs and all around town. And those ladies work really hard at making our community look nice and have nice curb appeal. I guess while I'm on that, I would like to also encourage downtown businesses to put planters out. And, you know, when we're running the water wagon down the sidewalk, if you want us to, we can give you some water too, so. I read the Defiance Crescent last week, and I saw the kids design an ad in there, and Hicksville has a lot of kids that got awards on designing these ads. And I just thought it was just really nice, and I was working at the plant sale, so I didn't get to go to the art show, but I heard the art show at the school was fabulous. I've been there in the past, and those kids really have some talent. And if you ever get a chance to go there and see that, you should. I would also like to remind people, some people know it, but our council meetings, you can see them on YouTube now. So for those of you who do not have MediaCom, you can go to YouTube and do a search for Hicksville YouTube.
HIX-TV.
HIX-TV YouTube, and you can watch the council meetings on that if you'd like to. So is there anyone in the audience that has anything that they would like to say? I know that's risky.
Yeah, I have a couple of things I want to bring up.
All righty.
Short and sweet. First of all, out there in front of my house, there's a piece of equipment that they're not using it. Piece of equipment sitting on my property out there by the road. It's been sitting there for 2 weeks. If they're not going to use it, take it on down to ground zero. Instead of sitting in my yard, I have to look out my window, I go out my yard, and I see it sitting there.
Okay.
I talked to the inspector there. He says those guys feel comfortable out there. What that piece of equipment is when they dig the trench for these guys to get down into, that sits down in that trench so it doesn't collapse on them. They said that dirt out there is pretty safe. He says the guys feel comfortable not using that, and he says he's not going to make them use it. So it's just sitting there. If they're not going to use it, get rid of it. I don't want them sitting there staring at it until they're done with the project.
We'll see what we can do about that.
Secondly is some of the stuff that took place down there at the cemetery this past week. I really believe if you get on Facebook and everything, there's a lot of comments on Facebook. Even my son called from Florida and says he got on Facebook and he sees there's comments about the cemetery out there. I personally, it's just my opinion that there should be something put in the paper, an apology or something, that some of the things that took place out there.
Well, I heard all kind of rumors myself, and I drove out there, and all the rumors I heard mainly were not true. Everything
As far as
wasn't,
what?
it wasn't totally stripped of,
There might have been a couple graves out there that had flowers on, all right?
well, I'm not talking about flowers, I'm talking about their statues and all that stuff. I heard it was totally
Yeah.
stripped and,
Well, still.
but I hear it looks extremely nice today.
My dad
But-
has-
It doesn't help people that had stuff sitting out there that got rid of
If
it. Take it
if
off.
the items, some of the items that were new, that were brand new, did people have an opportunity to,
They had an opportunity. Tuesday morning, I dumped out all the trash bags that we had the flowers in, scattered them out. So if you had something there, you had 2 days to pick them up.
so that opportunity is passed?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom was out there and looked for this brand-new saddle she just had on Dad's tombstone. She couldn't find it. She did find her shepherd's hook, but she couldn't find her saddle.
I dumped everything out Tuesday morning before I went to Rotary.
Okay,
There until Thursday morning.
all right.
My wife had called you to tell you that afternoon about that, and the only answer she talked to you for a little bit, and the response she basically got from you was, well, what do you want me to do about it? Then you turn around and recommended her to talk to Sheila Baker.
And I did, seriously, I wasn't being a smart aleck when I asked what you wanted me to do.
Well,
But Sheila's on the
should have been in your
committee.
position instead of telling my wife to call somebody.
Oh,
You should
okay.
have got on the phone and called her and told her,
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
so.
I'll try not to do that.
That's all I've got.
So I know that the notice was posted in the newspapers, and I noticed, and I know I saw a sign that was by the driveway that asked everybody to have their stuff removed. So I think we learned something from this, and I think the committee is actually going to maybe even go over their
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah.
And so,
I think we're gonna have a meeting.
July.
so we'll,
But you know, most cemeteries, when they post that, they mean it. Where my grandmother is, that's the way it is. The date and that's it. All through the other years, the way I understand, the other guys have just left some of the flowers, not taken them. This year they cleaned them up.
yeah. And they're new.
Stuff off the tombstone.
Yes.
The flowers.
They had not already took them off the tombstone.
Uh-uh.
But how do you decide yours is not faded and Troy's is? Who's to make the call? So you gotta clean everything off, so you start fresh and that.
Well, I guess you see what happens when you do that.
Pardon?
I guess you saw what happens when you do that.
But it was posted in the paper 2 weeks. The sign had been in front of the driveway for a month. That's not any different than you running a stop sign for 3 years and, okay, the next day, Kurt gives you a ticket. Well, I've been running this stop sign for 3 years. Okay, today's different, you know?
I don't know, my mom gave $50 for one of them floral saddles that set on there, and it's gone, and she's not a happy camper, and when she's not happy, I'm not allowed to be happy either.
If you put it on the 29th, you better take it off on the 30th.
Dad's been out there 16 years, 17 years, and
That's it,
never
right
had a
there.
problem before.
They never did by the rules.
It's been in the paper for the past few years.
Right.
It's also been a sign out there for the past few years. And Green, whoever was taking care of that, we always talk to them. They says, leave your flowers on, if they're nice, leave them on there. Or you take them off and put them on the
Right.
following weekend. Now they turn around and got the rules now.
Yep.
Nothing gets put on the 15th. Don't, you can shake your head all you want. That
All
was
right.
changed this year.
All right, well, we'll probably start following the rules, so people probably need to keep that in mind next year.
Maybe tomorrow I'll go back to my farce a year ago paper and see what it said a year ago.
Probably said the same as it did this year.
Yes, it did.
So I don't have any,
It was never enforced.
Once again,
Just
it's an
like a lot of
it's an
things, a lot of
enforcement.
things we do. We talk about it and we don't do it. We did it this year.
good.
If we do it,
Do we have any more business council here? Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Health.
I'm like way back at the beginning, but can you like tell me when the next council meeting is?
June 5th.
June 5th.
First and third Monday of every
Yep.
month.
They talked about, I had like a 30-day window for my permit, so am I gonna be okay, or?
Yeah, I
I don't
wouldn't
know
worry
the
about
dates.
that.
We might, Cheryl just reminded me, we may need to have a special meeting because our rules say that we gotta decide on it in 20 days, and I think she calculated the time in the next meeting is
21.
21. So we may need to have a special meeting at some point to just to approve as
Okay.
ordinance on it.
All right. Council?
This isn't gonna be long drawn out, just wanna ask, right there when you come into Hicksville or Ohio, at the Ohio sign across some big problems, that house burned down on state line, and you guys know where I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That place has been sitting there forever. Is there anything the township can do to make that guy clean up all those burn piles and stuff? And that looks like it gives a crap.
Yeah, I know it does. I was told he had a building permit to continue building. Court post said he does not have a building permit.
If he has a building permit, that is crazy, because in the 4 or 5 times I've lived there, I've seen that whole house up to the windows submerged. That's mysteriously, the house burns to the ground after the guy gets it and gets the insurance check. Not sense like that, but if anybody gives that guy a permit to build on that lot, that's insane. But now he's just pushed all the burn piles, and coming in from Indiana to Hicksville, that's like a crappy eyesore. And
We
it's
started sending a letter to clean that up. That would definitely look better coming into Ohio.
Justin, maybe if you want to talk to him further about it, maybe the township trustees have a regular monthly meeting too, so. All righty.
I'll bring it up.
Anybody else from council?
What are you calling for an executive?
Yeah.
I am.
And I
Go
will, wait, go ahead.
Ask for an executive section.
For what reason?
Purchasing land.
Purchasing land, okay. And we have a second, roll call, please.
I second.
Jones?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
If any of you want to stay till the end of the meeting, you're welcome to go over here and sit down in this room over here.